Today I told you I was going to talk about the difference between a practitioner and a pontificator. So most of us want to avoid at all costs being a pontificator. You know the person I'm talking about. It's that person out on social media or maybe at networking events that just rubs you the wrong way. They're coming across like a know-it-all. Their whole posture and demeanor is, I know everything and you should listen to me. And sometimes they're really desperate about it. Maybe they're trying to build a business around it. But you really don't want to be that person. And I get it. We've all been raised with humility and kindness and to try not to be a show off, right? To really kind of shun that activity. So when we see it, we don't want to be it. And as a result, there are a whole heck of a lot of you out there that are holding back your career growth in an effort not to be a pontificator. It's probably one of the biggest things I see in my career coaching practice. People say, well, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that girl. I don't want to act like a know-it-all. I don't want, you're basically saying, I don't want people to make fun of me. That's what you're saying. But the truth is, you can put yourself out there if you know how to be a practitioner and how to express yourself as a practitioner and present yourself as a practitioner. It's very different than a pontificator. And that's really the fundamental difference. And that is something you should and want to do. And here's why. You have a reputation. Your brand is your reputation. That's why personal branding has become such a hot topic, because you can't get away from it. I tell people, brand or be branded. If you say to me, JT, I don't want to be that person, I'm not going to put myself out there, that's fine, but you're still putting out a message. Make no mistake, you're still putting out a message. You're saying things like, there's nothing interesting about me. I'm not savvy enough to know that I need to do this and don't know how to do it the right way. Or even worse, maybe I've got something to hide. So there's a brand message there. My question to you is, do you want to control the message? I hope so. Because that message is your reputation. And our network is our net worth. So the more people in your network today, now that every job is temporary and our situations are changing by the hour, the more people in your network that understand what you are a practitioner in, the better. That is your insurance policy against things like a market correction, which is undoubtedly coming at some point, and millions of people are going to lose their jobs. So this is serious stuff, folks. To sit there and push this off because you don't want to be a pontificator is very short-sighted career strategy. Understanding that you are a practitioner in something, figuring out what you're a practitioner in, and then putting information out there to validate that you're a practitioner, that is a must do. That is career insurance. And that's really what I'm trying to make more people understand here on social media. Specifically, LinkedIn is such a great example. This is where you should be showcasing your practitioner expertise. Whatever it is that you're a subject matter expert in, whatever processes that you have, methods that you have in place, ways that you do things that you're passionate about in your career, that should be revealing itself on LinkedIn. And so in tomorrow's video, I'm going to give you the 3 must-dos of a practitioner on LinkedIn, the 3 must-dos, because it's so important that you do these 3 things consistently in order to send the right message and not feel like a pontificator, not feel like a phony or a fraud, but feel like you're truly serving your network, because that is the secret. When you create value, when you serve your network, both online and offline, you are building up your reputation, you are building up your brand, and that is what gets you the best opportunities. That's what gets your career on an exciting growth path. That's what reveals the future to you. Those people that you admire, those people that just seem to just have it all together and are such experts and you think they create so much value, that's intentional. They've embraced the fact that they're a practitioner. They've recognized that they need to reveal that information, and that's how they're getting it done. And everyone can do it these days, which is the most amazing thing about the platforms at our disposal. A little over a decade ago, none of this existed. And now we have the tools and research and the experience to know how to do it correctly. So if this makes sense to you, if you want career insurance, if you want to grow your career, then I want you to come back tomorrow and watch the video, because I'm going to give you the 3 things you have to do on LinkedIn in order to present yourself as a practitioner, not a pontificator. Okay? All right. Now, one final question. I always ask one every day. I love when you guys give me feedback, questions, comments. You want me to answer something, put them in the comments below. But my question to all of you today is, when you think of a practitioner, not a pontificator, a practitioner, somebody who's really delivering value and building their reputation, online, who is it? I want you to tag that person or put that person in the comments below. Maybe it's a famous person, maybe it's just someone in your industry, but I want you to tag and comment below. I want to see all the practitioners that you all are following and that you admire, and I'd love if you want to add in why. You can just list the practitioner, but I'd love to hear why you feel they've earned practitioner status and why they are not a pontificator, okay? So yesterday I did a video on the difference between being a pontificator and a practitioner, especially here on LinkedIn. And a lot of you are avoiding using LinkedIn the way you need to because you're very fearful of coming across like a pontificator. So today I promised you 3 things you can do to make sure you look like a practitioner here on LinkedIn now and beyond. So for 2020, these are my 3 tips. I need you to understand LinkedIn is not a social network. It is a social marketplace. That is its now intention and its goal. 660 million users and counting. It's going the way of Facebook. It's going to have 1 billion people on there. You are a business of one. So this is your yellow pages. This is where you have to present yourself to the world. And if you don't do it, you are going to miss out on job opportunities. And more importantly, you're going to lose credibility. This is a reputation management platform. We hear about personal branding all the time. Well, that's what that is, reputation management. And if you want to come across as a real, true expert, good at your craft, a practitioner, right, a humble, powerful, effective person, not a pontificator, a blowhard, then you need to know how to use this platform correctly in 2020 and beyond. So the first tip that I'm going to give you is to make sure that you do not write your profile in the third person. And I actually wrote an entire LinkedIn article for LinkedIn on this. I'm going to put it in the link below. You'll see why when you are in a third person, when you talk about it, you come across so badly. I give you an example that will make sure that you never do this again. You write your profile in the first person. It's you, okay? So read that. Second tip, you have got to start doing long form posting. Now this isn't writing articles per se. You don't have to write an article, but you do need to curate content and post it on LinkedIn. So what do I mean by curate? Well, as a practitioner, as somebody who's really good at your craft, as somebody who studies hard and geeks out and wants to constantly improve, I know you're taking in information like articles and videos and other things to educate yourself, right? Ongoing lifelong learning. You should be taking those articles and videos that really resonate with you, that taught you something that you think are powerful. Maybe you agree with them or you disagree with them. As a practitioner, when you have a strong reaction to a piece of content, you should be posting it in your feed and you should be explaining why. That's the long form, not one sentence. It gives me a nice detailed explanation as if you and I were in a conversation together and you were telling me why this stuff mattered to you, why this really got to you. In a good way or a bad way, I don't care. But you want to explain that in the long form. And then at the end, invite anybody that's taken the time to read the long form post to post in the comments below their thoughts, or ask them a question, or give them an exercise to do, something in there to engage them, just like you were in face-to-face conversation. All right, and then attach that video or article to it. Now, what that's going to do is push out into the universe and make people aware of what you care about. And the name of my company is Work It Daily. When you do this Monday through Friday on LinkedIn, week after week after week, when you make this a habit, long form content, not only will it get easy, you'll come in and you'll set aside 10 minutes a day and you'll do it, but you will see results. And I know that because I practice what I preach. I do this every day on LinkedIn, and what it's gotten me is instead of me pushing things out, people are bringing things to me, opportunities, all sorts of things. It didn't happen overnight, but this is like anything. When you build a habit, when you're consistent, brick by brick, you build the house and suddenly you've got this beautiful house, right? Well, that's what I'm asking you to do here. This is your reputation. You're going to build it brick by brick in the form of a long post here on LinkedIn, just a long form content, and share something. When you share and give value every single day, it will make a difference. Now, here's what you want to think about. In marketing, we know it takes about 9 to 20 times for a message to sink in with someone. So the other reason you need to be doing this every day is your colleagues aren't going to see every post that you do. But if you do it every day, Monday through Friday, over a period of time, eventually they're probably going to see 9 of them, 20 of them, and then they are going to make the connection. You are a practitioner of this particular skill or industry or job. And when an opportunity comes along, they're going to remember the person they know that talks about that all the time, that shares really good information about that all the time, that person on LinkedIn, and you want that to be you. That's how this process works. And that's why that's the number 2 tip, and it's so important to do in LinkedIn on 2020 and beyond as it gets bigger and bigger. Now, the last tip, the third tip, is to always take the time to comment back on the people that comment on your long form post. So I always set time aside, usually right after I've posted something on LinkedIn. I go in and I check, and any of the initial commenters, I immediately comment back. I like anything that people have said that I agree with, but anybody that's taken the time, 30 seconds to a minute out of their day to think about and write their perspective, I want to acknowledge that. That's currency. And I want to acknowledge that they've given that to me. So, I'll take a moment to write it back. I'll tag them in my response so that I know they're going to get a notification that I responded to their comment. And I do that every single day. And I do that, by the way. People often wonder, well, JT, you have spent a lot of time on LinkedIn. I have a lot of followers. I'm so lucky for all of you. But a lot of people think that's not me. That's me, my friends. That's me responding back to you. So that's helped me build this into a platform where I can engage, have meaningful conversations here on this social marketplace, and have people come to me with ideas and opportunities and things. That's how I've been able to do it. And it doesn't cost me anything to do the 3 things I just described. So these are the things you've got to do in 2020 and beyond. And I'm going to say something right now. 99% of you are going to listen to this video and go, oh yeah, it makes sense, I get it, and not do anything about it. I now want to talk to the 1% that do. So the 1% that do, I want you to think about coming and joining me inside Work It Daily. Because the Work It Daily players, the people that want to level up in their game, that's who's joining our private micronet. And those are the people that are getting the coaching that they need and are surrounded by A players like you who want to embrace this, understand it, and knock it out of the park. They want the career insurance in 2020 and beyond. They know a market correction is coming. They want to make sure they stay relevant for a lifetime. If that sounds like you, then I'm going to put a link below and you should check out Work It Daily because I want you to come work with us because that is going to make a huge difference for you and you're the exact kind of person we want on our squad, okay? So go check it out. Think about joining the Work It Daily micronet. With that in mind, for the rest of you, tomorrow I'm going to explain why it's going to become so important that you understand how to leverage social tools in 2020. There are no more social networks. There is not a thing called a social network anymore. Please understand that. I will explain that in tomorrow's video. Networking is how you choose to use a social tool. And some social tools are really going to be useful and others are not. So I'm going to go over the history of that tomorrow and why you're spinning your wheels on a lot of platforms trying to make it a social networking tool when it's never going to give you the return on the investment that other tools would give you. And for me, it's all about efficiency. So I think it's really important to share that all with you. So come back tomorrow for that video and come learn about how to develop a network on social platforms. Okay? Hey folks, it's JT. Today I promised I would talk to you about social networking. It's very important that people understand that LinkedIn is not a social network. Facebook is not a social network. Twitter, Instagram, none of those social media tools are social networks. Social networking is what you do on those platforms. And I think it's something that we've completely lost sight of in the last 10 years as social media has evolved. And let me explain. So when we started out on LinkedIn, I know I was one of the early adopters. A lot of the tip of the curl early adopter folks really get in and use all features and functionality. So everybody was truly networking with one another. I mean, if somebody asked you to connect, you connected, you had a conversation. It was really epic. But as LinkedIn has grown, and I've mentioned on a couple of my videos, it now has over 660 million users and counting. They are going the way of Facebook. They want 1 billion people on their platform because they are a social marketplace. They are the sophisticated yellow pages of our day. And so it's their job just to present everyone. You're a business of one. Your LinkedIn profile is your web page for your business of one, and that's how people are going to find you. But the part of the networking, that is something you have to do. And the problem we all have is when there was only 1 million people on the network, there was a very limited number of people in our industry or a skill set that we could network with, so it was easy to choose. But now, networking on LinkedIn gets so overwhelming. It's kind of like me taking you to an ice cream store, ice cream parlor, and them having 360 flavors. You're gonna sit there and go, do I get the lavender? Do I get the vanilla? Do I get the chocolate? Do I get the swirl? You know, you're hemming and hawing and wasting time, as opposed to if I went in there and there was vanilla and chocolate, boom, you'd make your choice. That is why we are all struggling to network properly on LinkedIn. It's too overwhelming. And so what is the solution? Well, you still have to do social networking. It's not going away, folks. Your network is your net worth. Every job is temporary. Again, let me say that every job is temporary. You might be happy today, but things could change tomorrow, and that's not the time to mobilize a network of people. Right now, we all have to get used to marketing our businesses of one. And companies have to constantly market their businesses. They don't just market when they need new business. They always market so that they always have business. That's what you need to be doing for your business of one. If you always want to be employed, if you want the best job opportunities coming to you, you need to social network. So, yesterday I gave you the 3 tips on how to do that on LinkedIn, but that's not going to be enough, right? In terms of presenting yourself, you still have to network. And so the future is going to be something called micronets. What's going to happen is that people are going to build the equivalent to associations, right? Chambers of commerce, industry meetups. They're going to take that and build these micronets. And we're already seeing signs of that because LinkedIn has just added an events. You can create events online via LinkedIn. So that's just the first step in the process. But micronets are going to be a group of people who come together and say, I'll pay a little something to be part of this private group that isn't 660 million people, but it's a smaller group of people that are all interested in the same things that I'm interested in. They're clubs. We're going to have social networking clubs. And this is going to explode over the next 2 years. I cannot stress that enough. So your job is start looking for the social networks, the social clubs, the micronets that work for you. And that's why I'm so excited about this, because we all know how to use social media. We know how to communicate and bond with people through social media now. So it's a powerful tool. But if we can channel that into micronets and go to a place where we know we're not weeding through 660 million people, and instead we're dialing with the right people, that's going to make this all feel more effective again. Does that make sense? So the goal is for you to start looking for the micronets that are going to be established in your industry and in your skill set and in your geographic location. Those are the 3 majors. And once you figure that out and you dial into those, you can start to get a lot more out of them. Now, one common question I get at this point is, well, JT, aren't there groups on LinkedIn and Facebook? Can't I join those? You can, but those are all free and there's no skin in the game. So when it's free, you're the product and nobody has skin in the game. So the difference between groups and micronets is micronets will charge you a small fee, but in doing so, they're going to be able to provide services and do things for you that will ensure that networking is happening. And of course, I do have an example of one. I'm very bullish on these, full disclosure, because that's what Work It Daily is. That's what my company is. We are a micronet for people looking to grow their career. So they go into the platform, they get help from career coaches, right? That's why you pay a small fee, because trained experts help them with their LinkedIn profile and their resume and their cover letter and their interview prep. So they're getting a service that they're not getting on LinkedIn, but they're also networking with a small group of like-minded people who are looking to level up. So they're able to meet people in their industry, meet people in their geographic location. They're able to do those things that hasn't been so easy to do on LinkedIn given its size now. So if you're interested in seeing what a micronet looks like, you need to go over to Work It Daily. We have a free trial. That way you can just try it out so you can start to understand micronets. If nothing else, come over and try it out so you can understand what a micronet is. But you'll understand now what I'm talking about when I say that we need LinkedIn. It's our yellow pages. We need to do very specific things on LinkedIn to market our business of one. But we're also going to have to find and connect within micronets. Okay?